Hi, creative writers. It's me again. It's Jesi here with your second installment of online creative writing. I saw that 11 of you viewed my last recording, which is great. I love those numbers, and one of you actually commented, so thank you for that. I'm excited to be here again. I've once again been totally stressing out about how to teach you guys online without actually seeing you, because my favorite part of working with students is actually working with the stuff that you actually write. So before I get started, I want to encourage you again to email me at the email address that I've put in the comments with anything that you're working on, whether it's something that you've done as part of the exercises that I suggest here, or whether it's something that you're writing on the side, and I will read it and talk about it and share about it. And you can request that it be anonymous, or you can give me your name, and we can try and replicate a little bit of what we do in the classroom here in the video. So to get started, what I want to do today is talk to you about using the tool of visual referencing to inspire your writing. So one of the things I've worked on often with my students at SOTA has been story structure and the elements of story. And this year we've worked a lot with prompts. But one of the other things that we haven't worked on is, how do we get our inspiration? Where do we draw from? And one of the best techniques that I know of is to use visual referencing. And there's a lot of different ways you're going to do it. You can do it. So I want to just give you 5 easy methods for using a visual reference to either inspire something that you're already writing or start something new entirely. So the first is to take a reference and create a character. And a lot of us write from people that we know, but sometimes we want to be creating a character straight from scratch. And so you might be looking at a photograph in a magazine or a work of art, or some of the images that I'm going to share with you on the screen share that I'm going to do in a few minutes. And when you do that, I just want to give you some questions that you can ask at any time for when you're creating a character. So I've got 16 basic questions, but there's infinite questions that you can ask about a character, but these are good ones to just keep in mind. So when you're looking at a character in a story, things to think about include: where and when was your character born? Who are their parents? Are they still alive? What job does your character do? What job did your character's parents do? Were they raised rich, poor, in between? And are they rich, poor, in between now? What situation do they live in? Who was their first friend? What do they like to do for fun? When they were children, what, if anything, made them different from other children? Are there any major events that happened in their childhood? Did something happen when they were 10? Did something happen when they were 7? What about their first boyfriend or their first girlfriend? When was this character ever hurt? And did they ever have to escape from danger? What special abilities do they have, if they have any? What are they bad at? Do they tell the truth? Do they lie? And what do they want most in life? So again, those are all questions that you can ask whenever you're creating a character. But you can use those questions as a jumping off point when you look at some of the visual images that I'm going to present in a few minutes, and ask those questions about some of the images you see. So that is one way to use an image, is to create a character from it. Another way is to create a story from an image. In that case, when you look at an image, you can ask yourself, what is happening? What is about to happen? Where are you, the viewer, and where are the characters, if there are any, in the image? Are there things you can see, hear, smell, taste, or touch, and what are they? Who else is there? What do you wish would happen in this image? And what don't you want to happen? And what can you, the viewer, see in the story that you can't see in the picture? So those are some other questions you can use when using a visual image. Another one is to look at any of the figures in an image and write from that person's point of view. Write about how they see the world. You won't be writing about your opinion of that person, of that character, but you'll be writing about their opinions of other things. When I show you the screen share of the images I'm about to show, you can imagine 2 or more of the characters talking to each other. And a prompt from one of them might be, "You don't know anything about me." So you can imagine them talking to each other and having a conflict about a misunderstanding. And then another prompt you can use with one of these images is, "Everything changed when ... So I just gave you a lot of different choices for using these visual reference images. There was creating a character and asking 16 to 20 basic questions about one of the characters you see. There's describing the image and turning it into a story in itself. There's writing from one of the people in the image's point of view. There's putting 2 of them in a scene with conflict and having one of them say, "You don't know anything about me." And then there's starting a story with the sentence, "Everything changed when." So now I'm gonna I'm just gonna show you 12 images that I picked from my postcard collection, which I unpacked when I was going through my garage because it's the pandemic and we're home. And we're finding things in our belongings that we didn't necessarily remember were there. So here we go for the screen share. So here's our first picture. This is a lady on the beach. And I'll leave her on there for a few seconds. And then this photograph. This is a classic from the Depression. And you can use the pictures to go back in time, to place yourself in a different historical setting, or even a futuristic setting. But you can also bring them up to date in the present. So this is from earlier in the 20th century, about 90 years ago. This is also an older image. This is a painting by Winslow Homer. Here we've got a painting by John Singer Sargent. So you can just start thinking about how would these 2 characters interact with each other? How would these 2 characters interact with the 2 young women in the field in the previous image? What conflicts would arise? I discovered when I was going through my postcards that I like pictures of people in contemplative poses, like this one. What's he thinking about? Here's a picture from a literary source. For those of you who've read Hamlet, you may recognize this image. Who is this woman? What's happening? What's about to happen? This one you could use for writing some fanfic, or just take the emotion from this image and these 2 characters and think about what they may be feeling right now, what they may have been feeling before this moment, what they may feel after. I showed this picture to some other writing students, and one of them thought that there was an explosion in the background, which is really interesting because it's a rising sun, but she came up with a whole story about there being a distant explosion. Oh, and here's the last one. Okay. Do we have any more? Oh, this one. Another contemplative pose. I didn't expect that Drew Barrymore one. I thought I'd left it out. And I think we have one more. This one. So you can use any one of those pictures. You can use all of them. I had a student who actually ended up writing a poem about all of those different images that I just shared. That was really beautiful. That's where it took him. So yeah, you can create a character. You can create a story. And if none of those pictures calls to you, give yourself a picture from the internet or from a magazine or even from your own photo albums, if you still have those at home, from your family photo albums. But the idea is to draw from what's around you visually, and I know a lot of you are already visual artists, and bring those images to life. So that's our assignment part of the class. I also want to share that I'm reading a new book on the craft of writing called The Way of the Writer by Charles Johnson. And you could see I'm really liking it. So I'll be sharing some things from this book probably. And the other book that I've been reading lately is this, the dictionary. So, you know, there's the aspect of story that goes into our writing, but then there's the aspect of words. And while I'm not a fan or an advocate in any way of using giant words for their own sake when you're writing, it's great to have a big vocabulary, and you never know when really cool words will come in handy. So yeah, I've been reading the dictionary, and I learned a new word this week, which is, let me see if I can find it here quickly, osculate. So osculate comes from Latin osculatus, and it means to kiss. So osculation is another term for kissing, which, as my child said, is an ugly word, and you probably would never want to use it, but it is good to have it in your vocabulary just for the hell of it. So hugs and osculations. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope somebody sends me some of their work so I can share it here. And I will see you next week. Bye.